Hello, my amazing learners, and welcome back to the Wisdom English podcast. My name is Sarah, and today I want to talk about a question that I have received so many times from students all around the world. The question is this: Sarah, how come I can understand you perfectly? I understand everything you're saying, but when I try to speak in English, I can't speak at the same level. Maybe you have experienced this same problem, this same difficulty, this same challenge. And to be very honest with you, I experienced the exact same thing when I was studying Spanish. You know the feeling, right? When someone is speaking in the language that you're learning, you feel so confident because you understand what they're saying. When my teachers were speaking Spanish, or my friends would speak in Spanish, or even when I would watch a television program in Spanish, I was so proud of myself because I could understand. But then, when someone would approach me and ask me a question in Spanish, it was like everything went blank in my mind. I couldn't think of the words that I had studied. I couldn't think of the words that I had understood when I watched those television programs. They just didn't seem to come to my mind. And again, you may feel the exact same way. So, how come you can understand English, but it's hard to speak in English? Well, today, I'm going to tell you why, and I'm going to give you the 5 solutions you need to finally speak just as well as you can understand. And make sure you stay with me until the very end, because I'll reveal the simple secret that ties all of these strategies together and makes them truly effective. The first solution is to maintain an equal ratio between your input and your output. Here's the fact about your current situation. You are watching, listening to, and enjoying hours of English programs, but you are only using your eyes and your ears. Think about it. You have a cell phone, you have a computer, you have a television, and you're constantly watching programs in English. So, your eyes are getting lots of practice, and your ears are also getting lots of practice. This is your input, and this is why you can understand so much in English. But again, that's not helping with your speaking, which is your output. So, here's what you need to do. You need to use an equal ratio. This means you need to speak for the exact amount of time that you listen to or watch an English program. That's right. The same amount of time you spend watching a lesson, just like this one, or watching a movie, is the exact amount of time you need to practice speaking. You need to speak for the same amount of time in order to improve your speaking skills. This will help your speaking skills match your ability to understand English. It kind of makes sense, right? The reason why you can understand is because you've constantly been putting new information in English into your brain. Now, we just need to do the same thing with bringing that information out. So, here's what you need to do. First, watch a 5-minute video, a 10-minute video, or however long you want to watch a video for. And what you're going to do next is you're going to speak for 5 minutes, or however long the video was. You're going to speak for that amount of time about the video. Now, half of the time is going to be spent summarizing what you saw, and the other half is going to be spent giving your opinion. For example, let's say you watch one of my YouTube video lessons. You can pick any video you'd like. And let's say the lesson is 15 minutes long. That means you need to also speak for 15 minutes. Now, in the beginning, it may seem a little bit challenging, but remember, half of that 15-minute period is going to be spent summarizing what you saw. You could talk about what I taught you. You can talk about my story time. You can summarize the lesson and take your time. It's okay. Now, the other half of that time needs to be spent giving your opinion. What did you think about my story? What did you think about the tips or the tools that I gave you in the lesson? Again, you have to practice speaking for as much time as the video was that you watched. It's going to be challenging, but you're going to see your ability to speak in English improve drastically. Now, what about the second method? The second solution. Here's the situation. You are learning lots of new words and expressions indirectly through videos and lessons, but you aren't using them. So again, you know a lot of words and expressions from watching my videos. I like to tell you all stories because in the stories, I usually use a lot of new expressions and idioms from natural conversations, words that I would use if I was speaking to one of my friends here in America. Now, when you hear the words that I use, you kind of pick up on the meaning. Like, maybe Sarah means this. And you kind of guess what the meanings of those words and expressions are because you're following along with the story or the lesson that I'm teaching. Now that's great. That's why you can understand so much. But what about speaking? So, here's the solution. Here's what you need to do. You need to learn and use one new word every day. Notice I said learn and use, because what's happening now is you're learning a lot of words currently from this video and from videos from other amazing English teachers on YouTube, but you're not using them. So here's what you need to do. Try to learn and use one new word, expression, or concept every single day. This is the key. Every single day. A lot of times, as students or as English learners, what you may do is you may spend one day and say, I'm going to learn 35 words today. And you go hard, you study really diligently. But then it gets overwhelming and you do it for one day and maybe the second day, but then the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, you stop. So what you need to do is have a plan that you can remain consistent with. Learn one new word or expression every single day. Now, simple words are okay. The key is that you must learn and use them every day. This will help you get in the habit of learning new words that you can use when you speak in English. Again, remember, the goal is to improve your speaking skills. So even if you know a word already, if you're not using it, it's kind of like you don't really know it. You know it in your head, you might think, Sarah just said that word, I know that word. But you need to learn how to use the word in a conversation when you are speaking. So, here's how you need to do this. First, write down at least one word, expression, or concept you learned. You can do more, but at least one. Next, figure out a way to apply it to what's going on in your day. And finally, use the word in a conversation or by talking to yourself. So again, let's say you learned the word gargantuan. I know it's a big word, but hey, stay with me. Now, gargantuan just means extremely large, really big. Now, I've used this word in a previous lesson several months ago, so some of you may have remembered that word when I said it, gargantuan. Oh, I remember Sarah taught that word in a previous lesson. Amazing. Your understanding, your listening skills are amazing. Now, how can you start using gargantuan in your daily life, in your conversations with other English learners or native English speakers? Well, what you have to do, again, step 2, is figure out a way to apply it to what's going on in your day. So for me, for example, gargantuan. Well, I watched a video about animals, a nature video, and in the video they had lots of whales. Now, whales are very large animals, right? So I can say, today I watched a video about a whale. The whale in the video was really big. It was a gargantuan whale. Make sense? You see, I immediately connected what I did or what I saw today with this word that I learned. But I had to say it out loud. And that's again what's important. When you learn the word, when you figure out how to apply it to your day, and then use the word in real life, in a real conversation, and again, if you're by yourself, you can talk to yourself. That's okay. Your tongue just needs the practice. So use it by saying it out loud and make sure what you're saying is applicable or is related to what happened in your day. Now, let's look at the third solution. Here's the deal. You are just thinking about your day in your own language. This means your brain is mainly functioning in one language. And I get this question all the time from students. Sarah, how can I stop thinking in my mother tongue? This is really a difficult thing. Again, when I was studying Spanish, I had the same trouble. I would always think in English, and then when I was speaking, I would try to translate really quickly into Spanish. So, what you need to do is to summarize your day. At the end of the day, even if you are alone, summarize the 3 to 5 main things you did that day. If you worked, if you went to school, if you talked to your family, if you cooked, think about the 3 to 5 main things you did during the day. Now, you need to start reviewing what you did each day and organize your thoughts in English. Remember that you need to speak out loud. So, for example, I told you that I spoke to my friend this morning. We spoke on the phone. Now, if I'm practicing Spanish, I have to process what we did in Spanish because that's the language I'm learning. So for you, think about what you did. You're going to think immediately in your own language, but that's okay. Then, you have to force your brain to convert what you're thinking into English and process everything about your day in English. Again, the 3 to 5 main things you did. So, here's how you do it. The steps are: set aside 15 minutes at the end of your day. Again, not a long period of time. I want to help you reach your goals without having stress. So just start with 15 minutes. Whatever time of the day you want to set aside this 15 minutes is okay. In the evening is usually best. Then, think about the 3 to 5 main things you did. And finally, start describing or explaining them out loud in English. Remember, I said what it is. I said we talked about marriage life. Again, my friend is getting married, so we talked about marriage life. I had to process that situation in Spanish and then say it out loud. You'll notice that the more I say it, the faster it will come out, because I've already processed it. You need to do the same thing about your day. Now, let's look at another one. Here's the situation. You are taking tons of notes in your notebook. You probably have your notes out right now just writing. If you are, I'm very proud of you as your teacher. That's a good thing. So you're taking tons of notes in your notebook on your phone or on your computer. The problem is that they stay there. Now, I am guilty of this as well. When I was studying Spanish, when I was in university, sometimes it was easy to write tons of notes. I would have notebooks full of notes, whether it be new Spanish words or expressions, or notes from class from our teacher teaching us certain aspects of art or different things. But what happened after class? The notebook would be closed and put on my desk. The note would be closed and put in my book bag. And that's what may be happening to you as well. You're taking tons of notes, which is amazing, a great habit to have. But if those notes just stay there, if they stay in your phone or your notebook, and you never actually use them, your English speaking ability will never improve. So here's what you need to do. Take notes and read them. Read them out loud. You'll notice that there's this overarching theme of out loud. Reading out loud, making sure you're speaking and not just thinking about things. So here we go. You need to start reviewing your English notes by reading them out loud. This needs to become a routine because it will help you remember important words and also use them in real life. So again, during this podcast, you've probably been taking notes. Now what you're going to do is go back over those notes but read them out loud. Maybe you wrote, Sarah said I need to take notes and read them. You wrote that. Now go back and read it out loud. Sarah said I need to take notes and read them out loud. You need to let your tongue have practice. This is how your speaking will improve. Now, how do you do this? Here we go. I'm going to give you some steps. First, write little notes throughout the week. I have a little notebook that I keep with me, that when ideas pop into my head, or if I have a little sketch that I want to do, I take that little notebook out. It's very small, and I just draw in it really quickly, or I write some quick notes. That's what you need to do throughout the week. Take notes. Maybe you watch a television program, or maybe you see a YouTube video like this lesson and you learn something new. Jot down a quick note. It's okay. Collect these notes throughout a week, over a 7-day period. Next, what you're going to do is pick a day to review those notes. You can say, Sundays are my review notes day. Or you can say, hey, I'm going to do it on Monday or Wednesday. You can pick the day. Just once a week, pick a day that you're going to review the notes. Then, what you're going to do is you're going to read them out loud 3 times. It will get easier each time. Now, you may say, Sarah, why 3 times? So let me explain. The first time you read your notes, you may feel a little bit awkward. But then the second time you read it, you're a little more comfortable. By the 3rd time, your tongue is also ready. It knows what to do. You've connected what's in your brain with what's coming out of your mouth. So reading it 3 times out loud will definitely improve your speaking. Remember, the notes are your thoughts, things that you believed were important. So when you go back to read them, they're not going to be boring. They are already interesting to you. Okay, now let's look at another situation. Here's the situation. You are just watching videos or reading English books or articles while relaxing and not doing anything else. Now again, it's very important for you to be relaxed when you're learning anything, especially English. But if you think about it really hard, a lot of times you just kind of watch a video, and when it ends, you go to the next video. That was good. Then you go to the next video and you keep scrolling. So you're watching, which is good input, but you're never putting into practice what you've learned. So instead of watching a video, stopping and practicing, you're just kind of going with the motions, watching more and more. So, how can we fix this to help you improve your speaking ability? You need to read out loud and shadow. So, reading out loud and shadowing are very important. You need to start reading the words out loud or shadowing what you hear as you watch various videos. This will also help you improve your pronunciation skills. So think about it. You all notice that for my podcasts, I always include lots of graphics because I love design. That was my profession before I became an English teacher. I love to make things look pretty. So since I have the words on the screen that I'm saying, you can practice shadowing and reading what I have on the screen. So, in essence, you could pause the podcast and repeat what I said. So again, you can go back and say, oh, Sarah said you need to start reading the words out loud. And keep going, reading what's on the screen. By simply hitting pause, instead of just taking information in, you can pause and start to be more active and give yourself the opportunity to improve your speaking skills. So, what are the steps here? Here we go. Select a video or an audio file. Again, you can select a YouTube video. You can select a podcast episode, like this one. The next thing you're going to do is decide on a specific time interval. Now, this is very important. I put down 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and 15 seconds. It all depends on your level. So what's going to happen is, for example, I'm still talking to you right now, but let's say you chose 5 seconds. So you'll watch for 5 seconds. Okay, we're studying this lesson and I want you to. Pause, and you repeat, okay, we're studying this lesson and I want you to. When you hit that pause button, you repeat what I just said. Now, for those who are a little bit more advanced, maybe you can choose the 10-second interval. That means you can remember what is said over a 10-second period, and you can repeat it. Again, you can choose the interval. But whatever you watch, whatever you are listening to, you need to pick an interval and start and stop, start and stop. So again, the last part is to stop the file based on the intervals and repeat what you hear. This is so important. This is how you practice shadowing and practice reading out loud as you're learning things from videos or from audio podcasts. Conclusion. The final secret. Now, I hope this really helped you because I know how frustrating it can be to be able to understand English but not actually speak it. I experienced the same thing when I was learning Spanish, and I wish someone had given me a lesson like this. So, put into practice what you learned today. And now for the secret I promised at the beginning. The single most important secret that ties all of these strategies together is this. Understanding is passive, but speaking is active. You can't become a great swimmer by just watching videos of swimming. You have to get in the pool and move your arms and legs. You can't become a great chef by just reading cookbooks. You have to go into the kitchen and actually cook. It's the same with English. You can't become a fluent speaker by only listening and reading. You must do the active work. These 5 solutions, maintaining an equal ratio, learning and using one new word, summarizing your day, reading your notes out loud, and shadowing, these are your ways of getting in the pool every single day. So, my challenge to you is this. Choose just one of these 5 solutions. Just one. And commit to doing it for 15 minutes every day for the next week. Maybe you'll choose the equal ratio and speak for 10 minutes after watching a 10-minute video. Or maybe you'll choose to summarize your day out loud every night before you go to sleep. Pick one and do it consistently. Prove to yourself that you can be an active learner. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Wisdom English podcast channel to watch our next videos.